Hello and welcome to Cricket News Live. I am Rahul Pandey, and it's a momentous occasion, especially a momentous occasion from where Sandipan Banerjee is standing right now, present at PCA Mohali for a brilliant test match coming our way. Well, if the test match is going to be brilliant or not, we'll find that in due time. But the occasion is Virat Kohli hitting that 100 test match mark as he'll go into this first of two test match series against Sri Lanka, and to bring in all of what is the anticipation and all of what we can expect from this legend, from this team, and from this series, we have our press civil correspondent present at the venue. Sandipan, how's the mood? How's everything about this test match going in your view?
Well, of course, it's a momentous occasion. Virat Kohli will become the 71st cricketer of all time to play 100 Test matches. It's a milestone, of course. It's a milestone. It seems like we can still remember the debut of Virat Kohli, and still like time and tide waits for none. I guess. Yeah, but yes, it's good to see. The build up is good over here. The local authorities have allowed 50% capacity crowd for this important game. If you are coming to Chandigarh, either from the airport or from the railway station, you will see hoardings that PCA and BCCI congratulating Virat Kohli for reaching this milestone. So yeah, there is a buzz about this test match over here in Mohali. But it
Yep.
will be interesting to see how much of that buzz will be transformed into crowd attendance on the match day.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's a big thing. What we have heard in the recent days, even before the announcement was made about the crowd, that crowd in Mohali hasn't traditionally been a good Test cricket crowd. If you look at all the other venues for say Kolkata, maybe even one Khede over the last few years, it, Mohali hasn't been that big in terms of crowd during Test matches. But then, what are your kind of thoughts on that?
I
If
think,
even
I
if
think,
fifty
I think,
percent
I
of the
think,
crowd is allowed,
yeah,
yeah,
I think for test matches, especially, still this is the better time compared to start of the summer, well, like March, April, when we saw
true,
when
true,
Mohali host test match, and if you can see, these are open. There are no shades over here, right, for the crowd. So
yeah,
if you are sitting for the whole day for test match, it is very hard for the crowd. I mean, we have to look at from their point of view as well.
true,
But I think now BCCI needs to, you know whenever we travel abroad, we see that attending test cricket test matches is kind of a family affair. Like people, it's like a family day out in abroad.
yeah,
I think we need that sort of a culture over here as well, because whatever I have found, that's in some of the venues in India, it is like, you know attending a match doesn't give. I mean, of course it's special, but but in this modern era of internet and live streaming and all that, you need to give something more to the audience who are coming to the ground.
true,
So yeah, I think BCCI needs to look on this aspect of the game, like where they make this, at least for red ball cricket, they need to make,
yeah,
they need to feel the crowd. I mean, what I am trying to say is that, I mean, I'm not probably, what can I say? I'm not saying that we can have just, everything which we get on foreign venues, like children parks outside, a playing area for the child. It is not possible
yeah,
at this
yeah,
point because
yeah,
of Indian grounds, because the capacity of Indian grounds are quite huge compared to other
yeah,
grounds outside. Over here, if we even if like 20,000 people attend a test match, the ground will look empty, most of the Indian grounds, because the capacity
yeah,
is such.
yeah,
But still, if
yeah,
you can make those, if you can make arrangement for those 20,000 people, at least for red ball cricket. I'm sorry about the noise because they are testing the mic.
that's okay, that's
No,
okay,
but
yeah,
yeah, Yeah, so I think that will work in favor of in favor of the BCCI and the popularity of Test cricket, at least when it comes to in terms of crowd attendance in India.
True, true.
I mean,
Sandeep,
the
quick bit.
point that yeah, the comfort level of the crowd needs to be taken care of. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. But also on that, how far off is the stadium from, say, the airport or the railway station?
No, no,
How's the
it is.
commute?
Yeah, so this is one of the, in India there are a few, very few grounds who are situated in the middle of the city. Mohali
Okay,
is in the suburbs, but the commute is not an issue. It's like a very well
okay,
connected area where this stadium is. But some of the other
perfect.
grounds where, like if you go to Rajkot, maybe for me, Nagpur, those grounds are situated way outside the city. So commute is a issue over there. But the local, but over here, commute is not an issue.
True, true. All right, then let's talk about the player who is in all the spotlight going into this test match, and deservedly so. Virat Kohli going to play his 100th test match now. And let's get into it in two ways because, first and foremost, it was, I think, day before yesterday, I saw this post on Twitter and it had a very interesting rhetoric being drawn with regards to the Mohali crowd, which traditionally hasn't been big, as we talked about in Test cricket. But on the basis of that, there was a comparison made between Sachin Tendulkar and Virat Kohli, yet again, as to who was a bigger crowd puller. And I couldn't help but think within a split second that Virat, in his own right, without disrespect to anyone else, has perhaps been one of the greatest crowd pullers the game has ever seen. And that's not just owing to his batting. His relationship with the crowd has been something of a case study in itself. Home or away, he has been able to literally fabricate music concerts out of test matches. What are your thoughts on that aspect of his game?
Yes, Virat, of course, is a crowd puller, but of course, Sachin Tendulkar. Remember when Tendulkar played, there was no most of his playing career was
Yeah,
in the pre-internet era, right?
definitely.
And yeah, so watching him from the ground was like a dream come true for all of us. Like when I first watched a cricket match from the venue back in 2003, I guess, it was like a dream come true for me. So, but Virat, credit to Virat that Virat has played a lot of cricket in this internet era when all people are people can easily follow matches on over a live stream while working on
True,
office.
true.
But still, he has pulled crowd. So of course,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and it's also credit to how India's crowd or fan base away from home has developed over the years, right? It's been the case that wherever they go, the issue of them not playing at home has never been there, apart from the pitch, of course. It's almost seemed like they're always playing at their home ground, and with the
yeah.
performances that they've been able
Apart
to
from
pull off.
whenever they play in Bangladesh, apart from
Oh
whenever they
yeah,
play
oh
in
yeah, oh
Bangladesh.
yeah. Which they will in this World Test Championship cycle,
Yeah,
which they have to. Uh,
yeah,
but yes, it's been fantastic to see him as a leader in the last 6 years or so. It's been tremendous where Indian Test cricket has gone, and the amount of importance he has paid to this format, and now that it comes to him being recognized for crossing this milestone,
yeah. Of course.
becoming what I think the 71st to cross the 100
71st
game mark.
international cricketer. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, 71st international cricketer to cross that mark. Uh, so it's a big occasion, of course, and we talk about stats coming into play. There is another side of talk of or debate or discussion that we need to have on this. 99 Test matches so far, 7,962 runs, an average of 50.4 with 27 hundreds and 28 fifties. Yet to breach, of course, the elusive 10K mark, which we do believe that he will by the time he hangs his bat. But it was something which was already expected of him in his initial years playing this format, given the caliber that he had shown in early times. I still remember that tour of 2011 2012, where India lost by 4-0 against Australia in
Australia.
Australia.
Yeah,
And that last test match, that 100 that he scored in Sydney. Uh, just brilliant to see that kind of a performance being put up
Yeah.
from someone who was so young, and the team wasn't so much of a pressure because they had already lost in England for him, and we knew that this was something special. There was something special about this player, and the last 2 and more years haven't been really smooth for him in terms of batting. But when we talk about the complete journey, how much do you think he's been able to achieve in terms of those expectations and those high bars he set out for himself?
No, no, of course, of course. I mean, Virat is a brand in itself. I mean, there is no doubt about that. Apart, I mean, irrespective of what happened in the recent past, his bumpy ride you are referring to in test
Yeah,
in international cricket, but still he's a bigger. He has, and he has a lot to offer, I guess. Now remember, he is not the captain anymore, so he can entirely focus on his batting.
yeah,
And I think that will I personally believe that that will do a world of good to his batting.
definitely, definitely. Well, we do hope that the home season, as this is, does bring about that big celebration that we have been waiting from, that huge roar from Virat as well as the crowd as he takes his helmet off. But let's not dive too much into it. We don't want to jinx him even before the test match begins. Let's talk about the other factor, that is the series itself, which is the bigger factor given where India are. Let's take a look at the World Test Championship table. Uh, of course, Sri Lanka, as on March 2022, Sri Lanka on top of the table, given their points percentage, that is 100 so far. They've won both the test matches that they've played, and Australia and Pakistan on second and third, respectively. They, of course, are going to be playing a series of their own in Pakistan. South Africa on fourth. They beat India and they drew against New Zealand. So those are the top four so far, and India are at fifth. We have seen huge shuffles in terms of the tables, even in the last 6 months or so, in the last cycle. And now we know that it's important that teams do not give up till the very end. But how important do you think it is for India to win this one till 2-0? Because they didn't win one against New Zealand in the home season. And it's really important to make the most of these home test matches, isn't it?
Look, it's very important. It's like do or die kind of a situation for India right now, because Australia is looking like one of the candidates who will reach the final. Considering, I mean, they have some of the assignments in the subcontinent, but
Yeah.
as of now, I believe that Australia is probably will be one of the finalists. For the other
Mhm.
spot, there will be like 3 or 4 teams will be competing, and for India, they have to win here. I mean, they have to get the entire points from this series. I mean, and then they will play Australia in a 4-match series at home, which India
True.
they should do well, and they have a tour of Bangladesh. So
Yeah.
and one test match in England also. So
Yeah.
India needs the maximum points from these games, and
Definitely.
from that point of view, there is no scope of any kind of fumble in these home matches, home series.
True. True.
And also
Uh,
from if you look just slightly diverting from the point of view of World Test Championship, I think this series is also important because India have they completed their Sena cycle. I mean, we have one Test match in England, but that was a part
yeah.
of the part of the earlier series. But India have
Yeah.
completed. Now it is an ideal time with no Sena tours in near future, Test tours. It's an ideal time to groom the youngsters, right? The India's. I think
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere that India's middle order is one of the in last few years they have the worst. I think second worst record. Worst record I think West Indies average in terms of batting average, and then
Yeah.
Indian middle order. So they need to fix. They need to plug some holes over there as well. And there will
Yeah.
no Rahane, no Pujara. So there will be some youngsters who will be groomed in this series. But
Yeah.
again, what we see, what happens, like people tend to score a lot of runs in these conditions, in home conditions, but their real test begins whenever they travel outside. But
Yeah.
as of now, but with no Sena tours in the near future, I think this is the ideal time for Rahul Dravid and the team management to try out new youngster and prepared a fresh new look team under the captaincy of Rohit Sharma for the next Sena
Yeah.
cycle.
Yeah, definitely. And let's talk about Rohit as well. His first uh, match into this new assignment as a Test captain. He's already been India's T20 captain and ODI captain. Has played those series at home so far. India, of course, unbeaten in this home season so far, and they'll hope that it continues. But
Yeah.
even for the likes of Rohit, who has shown his caliber as a captain, Test cricket is going to be a different bit altogether. And with the high standards that Virat has set, those are some big marks to achieve, aren't they?
Of course, of course. So Rohit has already established himself as a white ball captain, but Test cricket, is a different ball game altogether.
Yeah,
Now he needs to establish himself as a red ball captain as well. For Virat, like he has been a captain who has encouraged the fast bowlers. I mean, whenever
true.
India played at home, most occasion, I think on probably on 99% of occasion, Virat has played five bowlers at home.
Yeah,
And he has always backed his strengths. At home he has always backed his spinners. Even the pacers have under him have done exceptionally well. Now
definitely.
Rohit needs to continue the same culture, I guess. I mean,
Yeah,
it will be interesting to see the India's team selection for tomorrow, because what I believe that Rohit will probably go with three seamers and two spinners. I mean, I what I feel that Siraj, Sami, and Bumrah will play along with Jadeja
okay,
and Ashwin, of course.
okay.
So Rohit's team selection will ki- kind of team Rohit will select will probably show his the kind of approach he wants to adapt as a Test captain.
True, true, true. Well, let's talk about the net session that you recently saw. What were your observations from there?
Today India had a light session, only three players came because it is an optional session, and generally on the day before the game they like to take it light. But
Yeah,
yesterday they had a full-fledged session. Virat batted for a
okay,
while. He looked bit out of sorts. He got out quite a few occasions, especially against spinners. But
okay,
I think he will redeem himself. I mean, you cannot judge. I mean, of course you can judge by someone with their performance in the nets. But when it comes to player like Virat on a big
yeah,
occasion like this, I think we should not jump the gun just because of he did not get had a good
oh,
session at,
definitely.
at, at the net session. Yeah,
Definitely, definitely. Has had a bit of pause as well. Has had time to go outside of the bio
of
bubble
course. So
and
he
just
needs to he needs to get into the grooms as well. Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, it is going to be a good time watching Virat Kohli, of course, on this big occasion, and bringing in all the updates will be cricket news, and bringing in all the updates will be Sandipan, who you can follow on Twitter as well. He'll be bringing all of that to us for us. But before we go and before we let you go, let's put you on the tough spot, Sandipan. Yet again, we do that every time. That's our culture. That's our tradition here. Let's talk about predictions a bit. Firstly, of course, we've been talking about Virat Kohli. What do you expect will be his score in this test match? One innings or two innings?
I think he'll score at least one half century.
At least 1.5 century. Yep, we have
I
seen
think I
quite a
think
few
we
important
should
knocks.
yeah. I think also we should predict who will bat at number three for India.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. Who are the
I
players
think
you see batting in that position?
Hanuma Bihari is the man for. No, I think
Yeah,
he will be tried out at number three.
deserves that position as well, given
Of
all
course.
of the grind that he has gone through. I think he deserves
Yeah.
to bat at that position, and will be a big change, probably a big plus for him. We'll pray for that. Uh, who are the batters you are looking forward to in this test match from both sides?
Of course, Hanuma at number three. I am looking forward to Rohit. Of course, we know what he is capable of. Between Gill and Mayank, I don't know whom India will pick, but as of
Yeah,
now, my gut feeling says they will go ahead with Gill.
Gill. All right.
because this is
Been
being
some
his
time
home
watching.
ground and all.
Yeah, been some time watching Gill and Rohit as well in Test cricket. Seems like long way back, but
Yes.
yeah, there's been too much cricket going around. Oh, the bowlers you're looking out for, of course, playing in India. You cannot take your eyes off Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja. But
Ashwin
who are the
Jadeja, of
players you
course.
specifically look out for in both the teams?
I think Sri Lanka has a good left arm spinner, Lasit. I'm forgetting his surname. He's very difficult to pronounce, I guess. But he has done exceptionally well. I think he has 13 from 13 Test matches. He has 62 wickets. He debuted in South Africa, the series Sri Lanka won. He took 5 wickets haul in South Africa. He took a lot of wickets on home conditions against teams like New Zealand, West Indies, and England. So I'm looking forward to him as I have high expectations from him because I have seen him bowl. He has a high release point. You know, he's one of those like traditional left arm spinners in this modern era of when play spinners becoming more and more bowling with more and more flatter trajectory. This guy
Yeah,
bowls with a high arm action, gives loop. So he's the new Rangana Herath of Sri Lanka. That's what at least the Sri Lankan media is saying.
there you go. Sandipan with his predictions. Got to watch out for Lasa Tembuldenia. But
Embuldenia, yeah,
yes,
that's yes, I
yes,
have pronounced it right.
final
Embuldenia.
final bit of prediction. Who's going to win this one? What's going to be the result? What do you see the result panning
Look,
at in this first
I
test?
think, I think some people believe that this series will be a no match, but I think Sri Lanka will do a much better job than whatever we have seen from New Zealand, because Sri Lankan
Oh,
bowling attack is good. Sri Lanka have
yep,
a good bowling attack. Their players, some of their batters are good players of spin, so they won't be like whatever we saw against England. Whenever they were facing spinners, they were like. So
true.
I don't. I think this we can expect. We can expect a competitive game over here. At least over here. I'm not sure what will happen in Bangalore with the pink ball test, but at least over here, I think Sri Lanka will be competitive. But India will win, of course. India will win.
There you go. Sandipan Banerjee with all the reports, the predictions, and the talk around this first test. And we'll be bringing you more of that. For everything about cricket, you have got to stay tuned to Cricket News. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much, Sandipan, for sparing some time out and
Thank you.
joining us yet again.